let's talk about faith, shall we? Faith on this path of awakening is interesting. Through my experience, of course. That's all I know is my experience. But, for me, my whole entire life, I never believed in God. I never believed that there was really something intelligent, loving, impossible to grasp and understand. I probably went around saying, yeah, I believe there's a higher power. But the whole time, the idea was that I thought that I was in control. I think that's what faith is. I think that's what it is, right? It's the idea that we either think we are in control or that there's something guiding us. And when you understand and believe and act and live like it's not you who's controlling this world, and there's something bigger, smarter, more beautiful and intelligent and sacred and still powerful, and this being, this intelligence is guiding you, there's a certain serenity and flow that comes to that entire experience. So on this path of awakening, for me, I realized, I realized that it's really true. Like it's not something that we have to believe in. It's not something that we need to okay, wait, hold on. I need proof. I need reason. I need to read this book. I need this. All that stuff is so important. It's so important as you move in and out of faith on the path. But at the end of the day, it's really true. It's just true. It's just true, and truth will win. So I like to look at faith as there is something bigger guiding me. And then when I'm out of faith, I believe that I'm in control. And when I think of days that I have that aren't great, when I wake up and I don't feel God, it's those days where I think, okay, I have to do this. This happened because of me. This has happened, right? It's all of this centered around control. And when we release control, that is when we feel the best. And there's this notion to think that if we release control, that we're irresponsible, that we won't get things done, that we'll fall behind. And I understand this. I understand this because I deal with it, But when I try to look at the facts, and since this started for me, man, since this whole thing started for me, man, it's been about straight releasing control, man. And not only has it been fun to an extent of I have more moments of peace and knowing and joy and love and absolute bliss, but everything has gotten done. And everything has actually gotten better. And my mind can look at that in different ways, right? This is the coming in and out of faith. My mind can say, well, has it gotten better? Right? And my ego can talk about, oh, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? But when you really relax into the essence of being, and you think about, at least for me, my experience so far has been taking my hands off the wheel and flowing with this kind of power, with this kind of call. Because I have done not, since this happened, y'all, I have, lately I feel I'm at being more in my ego and more trying to control things again. But like, man, this whole thing has just been me saying, do what you will, And I'm trying to think, have things gotten better, right? Because that's my original point, that there's this feeling of losing responsibility, or things are gonna crash, or you're not being an adult, and this is programming. And it's so hard to overcome. My entire life has been, gotta make sure, gotta figure out, gotta do this, gotta plan, all these things, right? And to an extent, it feels like that's still important. But faith is believing that it's all unfolding exactly as it should. Faith is knowing that we are not the doer, and that we can only control how we respond to what happens. And it's such a ride. It's such a ride, because when I first realized God is real, when I first realized that there's this whole underlining, overlining, all around meaning to this existence, obviously that was a breath of fresh air. But then you wake up and you don't feel that, right? I have days now where it's like, I watch some of my reels or some of my stuff, which is unbelievable because it's really just me talking to me. All my messages are just to me, and it's like my future self is making those messages. It's just crazy. But I think of myself, wow, like, what am I talking about? Like, I'm talking about God and the Bible and angels and guides. Like, I'm crazy, right? And like, I know it to be true, yet I still feel like a lot of the time I'll wake up with that notion, because it's that story that's playing. Because I always thought anyone who talked about this stuff was crazy growing up. That's just, I didn't grow up in a family that talked about or believed in God at all. And then you go through dark nights, right? And God is so far from you, so missing. And in a way, that's the initiation on this path. That's like him saying, bro, like, do you have the devotion? Like, are you ready to act outside of yourself? Are you ready to commit to a new way of being? Because you fall in love with this line of light, and then it's gone. And you don't necessarily have anything else, because you've dedicated your time and your life and your mind to this. And now this is gone, and your old life is gone. And it's empty. It's really dark. And as you go through these things, you gain the wisdom to understand that that is part of the path. So it's like losing the connection to God is the divine. That too, there's a part where you can fall in love with that. It's like changing your perspective of it. It's not being in the feeling of, wait, where are you? I don't have connection. Wait, it's being behind it and saying, oh, look at this. This is happening again. I love this because I know what this is. I know what this is. This is to increase my intimacy. This is to increase my devotion. This is to increase my faith. This is to test me. To see if I'm really about this life. And every time, y'all, every time I've gone through it, whether it been the dark night of the soul, like the deep, like months and months, or 2-3 days, whatever it may be, or an hour, it's always ascension, man. We're going up. And it's so important that we learn. And if you learn from me and you're going through it, as I learned from other people, you learn these things and then you experience them yourself. And that's what closes in on the knowing. Because knowing and believing are two different things. Knowing and believing are two different things. Right? Imagine you got on a plane and the pilot said, all right, I believe I'll get us there safely. What would you do? You run off that plane, you know? So when you know something through the experience of yourself plus the things that you've learned, you're able to put it all in perspective. And it doesn't mean it feels good. You know, when I lose that connection, when all of a sudden I feel like I'm the doer again, when I have to control things, it doesn't feel good, but I'm wise enough. I'm wise enough to take a step back. And even if that step back's just for a moment in all of the muck, just for a moment and say, okay, I remember this. This too is the divine. This too is beautiful. And I could control this. Or control may not be the good word, right? But I understand this. And this is happening for a reason. I don't have to be in it, right? I'm outside of it, watching it unfold. And this is how faith is increased. This is why it's a journey of remembering. Because it truly is the path and the process and the journey, and it's so cliche, and we've been talking about it in children's books forever, right? It's so crazy how all these things are so true. Because if you understand that we are the ones that are playing the game, we chose to come down here, right? We chose to come down here. So it's the same thing as saying like, okay, I'm choosing to play a game, right? Now, you wouldn't start the game and then want to be at the finish line, right? You want to play a game that's fun and interactive and ups and downs and swings and challenges, and you'd want to play it. So this is the dance of intimacy with the divine, and it deals with losing it so much of the time, only for us to say, please, where are you? I want you more. And that changes our perspective, right? That shifts us into learning new lessons. And we come out stronger. And we come out with more faith and less control over our lives, which gives us more peace. But once again, it doesn't feel good when you're there. This is important to remember because we get so stuck in the feeling, right? So when we're going through it, it doesn't feel good, and then we decide that we are this feeling. It doesn't feel good, I don't feel good, I need to feel good. But if we can remember, oh, this is not supposed to feel good. And this too is the divine. This too. Man, if I had a camera on me all day, you know what I say? All day, this too, man, come on, man, this too, come on, this is all part of it, this too. And when I say that, what I mean is this too is God, this too is the divine, this too is part of my path, and this too is okay. You start to separate yourself from the piece in the game to the player playing it. I think all the time, even knowing all this, like what's with the hide and seek, man? With God and the divine. Like, what's with it? Like this you see the polarity. I'm here explaining to you the process of why, and yet at the same time I could understand the other side of it and live both sides of it. And that in itself is the universe, don't you see? That is the beauty of this whole thing, is that we come down here to live out these extremes, man. There's no polarity in the other dimensions, man. And it doesn't mean it has to feel good. But I say all the time, why are we playing hide and seek, right? Especially in my darkest times. Because when you feel God, when you feel the connection, when you see what this place is truly, this world is, I've seen it. I've seen it, bro. I've seen what this place is, man. I've seen heaven. I've seen it. Even if it's for just a second. I've seen it where there's no definition to anything, but it all has meaning, and it's all just one meaning at one time with one love in one peace in an overwhelming manner of serenity. And when you've seen that, and you know that this is our natural place of infinity, and then you go into this dark shadow, where are you, God? I'll be like, why are we playing this game? Why are we playing this game? If the path is to get to you, right? Every soul path leads to God. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Every soul path leads back to God, or starts with God even. But it's like, damn, I've seen it. Why? Because it's the game. It's the journey. It wouldn't be fun if we just got there. And once again, it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't have to. But we know that this is just part of it. This too, yeah. This too, all day. Come on, Jesse, this too. It's okay. This too is it. This too. And it could get so confusing and so weird, which makes it beautiful, really. Which makes it beautiful. Which makes sense also because it's the same side of the coin. It's two different sides of the coin. Is sadness and confusion, and then beauty and clarity, right? They're the poles, polarity, two different poles of the same thing. So what that means is, in all of the confusion, all of the sadness, and all of the disconnection, you can still find the beauty. And to me, anything that is authentic is beautiful. Anything that is authentic is beautiful. And I think this is in our core as humans and as souls, right? Because this is how the whole game started, is God saying, who am I? So when we see something in its essence, like a flower, it's so beautiful because there's nothing that it's trying to change for anybody. It's just being itself. It's just being itself. And anything that's doing that is attractive. So even the darkness, just being darkness, even the confusion, just being what it is as confusion, can we find the beauty? Can we find the grace in that this energy is just doing and being exactly what it is? And even in our darkest times, where we're overwhelmed and we're lost, Wow, right? The step back. Wow, look at this beautiful mess. This mess is just so messy. It's so authentically exactly as it should be. So the dance of faith, the back and forth when you're losing it. And I didn't understand this in the beginning. Every other day was the dark night for me because it was just like belief, non-belief, this, that, I know it, I feel it, I don't know it, I don't feel it. And this is the ascension process. You learn more, you experience more, you feel more, you know more. That knowing doesn't leave. It could get distorted through programs, but it continues to rise. And at the end of the day, and I'll end with this, let truth win. Let truth win, right? All of this stuff is true, which is what's so beautiful about it, really. Doesn't matter what we think, what we do, what we feel, because this is the truth. Let truth win. 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 Oh, I don't believe in God. Oh, I don't feel good. Oh, this story about me. Oh, fine. If it's true, let it win. If it's true, let it win. If it's true, let it win. If it's true, let it win then. Come on. I'm into truth. I'm gonna sit back here and let you all figure it out. You know? So, keep going. Find the love for it all. Find the love for it all. Work your way back behind it so you can watch it. Even just for a moment. You get a moment of, hey, I'm watching this, fine. You're cultivating that. You're growing that. This is the skill of healing. This is the tool. This is why we're not just given the fish, we're taught how to fish. Right? Fine, God says, I could take your pain away, I could take your fear away, fine, but what about next time? A, you won't learn. Two, what are you gonna do with it? Then you'll really feel it. But if I let you sit with it and I guide you and I hold your hand with love and compassion, then you will deal how to. You will learn how to transmute it, how to sit behind it. Yeah? This too, baby, come on.